Hey guys, I know the sound is not the best on this today, but just bear with me. I know we didn't get a chance to finish our notes yesterday during class, and so before we work on the worksheet that Mrs. Crown has for you, I wanted to take just a minute and show you how to do a couple more problems so that you can work through it. So please keep in mind as you're going through your notes today that the important thing is not that you have everything written down. It's really important that you actually understand what I'm doing. So simply writing down the answers today will do you almost no good. So please take the time to pause, rewind, try a problem on your own, and then check it with the solutions that are on here. And then do the same thing today when you're looking through your worksheet and you're checking your solutions. I worked pretty hard on your solution page so that it would be helpful to you. So once again, don't just focus on the answers. I want you to focus on understanding today. All right, so in just a second, I'm going to pause. You need to take out your notes from yesterday. This is lesson 8.3. You should have your notes, your foldable, a calculator, and something to write with. All right, welcome back. I think most of us left off with problem 2 yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and do it again anyways, just so that you guys can see how to do it one more time. All right, so today I've gone ahead and actually written down the different steps that we use to go through a problem like this. And so our first step is going to be to label home base. All right, so take a minute to come over to your triangle, and the only angle that it gives you is going to be home base. So that's going to be my step number 1. I'm going to draw a little house right there at my home base. Step number 2, and we're going to do this every single time. Never skip these steps. Always do this. We're going to label opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So this across the street means opposite. Hypotenuse is the longest side, and then adjacent is the kind of over. All right, step number 3. I like this step a lot. It really helps me focus on what I need and what I don't need. So for step number 3, we're going to put a box around the 2 sides that have the information I need to use. So if I look at my triangle, there's a 17 on the hypotenuse, there's a W on my opposite side, because I want to figure out what that one is, and then there's nothing on my adjacent side. And so then, based on that information, I basically decided, hey, I don't need the adjacent in this problem. I know the 17, I want to know the W, so I'm going to put boxes around those 2, because those are the 2 that I'm going to be using. All right. So step number 4 then, this is probably one of the hardest steps. We're going to go to our foldable, and based on the information that I put a box around, I'm going to use that to pick the correct formula. So right now we're looking for a side, so I should be in the left-hand column of my foldable. And since I know the hypotenuse and I want to know the opposite, I'm going to look for my formula that goes with opposite and hypotenuse. So I want you to take a second, open up your foldable, find which of the formulas, the sine, the cosine, or the tangent, goes with opposite and hypotenuse. All right, after you've looked through your foldable a little bit, you should have found that the sine function goes with opposite and hypotenuse. And my sine formula says the sine of my angle, and my angle is 54, equals my opposite side, that's my W, divided by my hypotenuse, and that's 17. At this point, you're like, okay, great, well, what kind of math am I supposed to do here? That's where step number 5 comes into play. We're going to use our formula, the one I just wrote on the board, and then we're going to cross multiply to find our missing side. And so if you remember, even though I don't see him, a 1 always lives underneath that guy. And so once I know that that's a 1, I can use my cross multiplying skills. I'm going to use a little arrow here to go over. And so what I have then is 17 times the sine of 54. Now I need to be careful when I put this on my calculator. I always put the 17 first and then hit times the sine of 54. And once I type that in on my calculator, that's going to give me W. You should have changed your calculator to degree mode yesterday. If you didn't, you won't end up with the same answer as me. So on my calculator, I'm going to type in 17 times the sine of 54. So you do that real quick on your calculator. 17 times the sine of 54, and then I'm going to hit enter. And what I get is 13.75 equals W. There are a few tricks to making sure I do this on my calculator correctly. If you put that multiply by 17 out in front of the sign, you're going to be good. If you put it after the 54, sometimes your calculator will mess it up a little bit for you. But the sign of 54 is one number, and I'm taking that one number times 17. And so then I get my 13.75, and so that's basically telling me, based on the fact that right here I have a 54-degree angle, right there, and then over on the other side was my opposite. That's telling me then that my opposite side is a length of 13.75, which, if I look at it, it should kind of make sense as my answer. All right, so once you take a minute, take a look at this. I'm going to pause us, and then we'll pick up again in the next clip for questions 2.